GDP coming in from China, and it's some very interesting news, and this is going to affect the crypto network. So this is why we want to jump in this. We obviously have some really big news that came out that they did really well, but there's some hidden things in there we're going to have to take a look. So let's get in there and figure out what's going on, because that's what's going to be important. Now, guys, as always, we want to dig a little bit deeper. Always do figure out what's going on out there. But like I said, there's some great news out there. But what's interesting about the news is that, there's a lot going on as far as what you don't see. So let's take a look here, because this guy's going to cover it, pretty much what's going on. And I want to show you guys a couple of different graphs that are interesting to me. So let's take a look at this graph right here. Now, the thing about this graph right here is you can tell, if you take a look at 2020, their growth was 2.2, right? After the election, the very first year, Bad Man Orange. I mean, look at this. Look at the advantage they took of us when we got rid of the bad man who was orange, right? Now, they're suffering because they did come down 5%. It's not more than half, and then they're estimating further from that. So they're looking for lockdowns to continue on. So these two graphs I wanted you to take a look at, because this is what's important. These going this high is what they're really going to focus on. But this guy's going to break it down, because they're getting into the details that most people aren't looking at. The retail sales contracted. So let's listen to what's going on here. Now, what they're going to look at basically here is, they have the GDP growth accelerated in Q1. They're showing nothing but looking like they're staying on a good pace to grow. Everything's looking good as far as they're concerned. But what they're hiding, or what they're not getting into, is the fact that they do have COVID lockdowns. They have a bunch of things in place that are going to slow down really what's going on here. So that, to me, is what we really want to focus on. And more importantly, the space where, the retail space, there's nobody spending money. And that's kind of what's wrong with the market right now. The fact is that there is nobody in the market actually spending money. So if you're watching your cryptocurrencies, you're starting to realize that that's what's happening. So let's jump in here and take a look at what's going on.
State media was out this morning trying to spin, in terms of the story of this economy. State media is out saying the economy is strong, we're doing well. That GDP number would seem to say that. But if you look deeper, there are some issues there. You mentioned the retail sales numbers, that's contracting by 3.5%, excuse me. But also, Jan-March residential property sales are down 25.6%. That's more than they were down last in the January-February period, when they were down 22%. Also, interestingly, the surveyed jobless rate is up to 5.8%. By what I see, that is the highest jobless rate we've had since April of 2020. So since April, when the pandemic was just setting in.
Well, you make a good point. These numbers don't really account for the pandemic. What do future quarters look like, and how realistic is this 5.5% growth target?
So that 5.5% target looks like it is going to be challenging, Paul. So if we factor into this picture the lockdowns from COVID, which really started in full at the end of March, the challenges that lay ahead are going to be substantial. The question is, what can the government do? They can cut interest rates, they can cut RRR as they did this weekend, but that's only going to have a limited impact, when the problem with this economy is that people are not being allowed to leave their homes to go shopping, to go to work, and the disruptions, be it supply chains or factories or production, have become very widespread.
Now that's what's interesting right there, is the fact that, with everything going on, the lockdowns, they're not really talking about the lockdowns and what's happening there. And, there's nobody shopping. Like, when I'm looking at these crypto markets, what I'm looking at is that there actually is nobody actually shopping. There is no money out there. In the U.S., we have the same situation where people aren't getting their taxes. They're paying taxes. I mean, I know a lot of people that $7,000, $15,000 in taxes, and there's really not much left to do any shopping. Not to mention that there's no longer you're no longer taking advantage of, the unemployment, double paycheck, free money that was coming out in checks. So it just puts it in a bad situation. So even though these numbers are high, the word on the street is going to be that things are low. So just that's really what we're looking at as far as like what's going to happen. Now, this is going to affect Bitcoin. This is going to affect the markets. So there's some issues here and some things that are popping up, but that's just so you know. Let's take a look at what's going on the Wall Street side. And you really want to Dior here to really dig in, because that's the problem here. China's reports, let's see what we have here. I'll take a couple views of this. So here we have China's reported a 4.8 GDP growth in the first quarter despite a property slump, and widespread lockdowns in March has intensified economists' questions about the official data. I mean, when you have that coming out, that's not good, right? Because basically everyone's saying that, hey, we just got a good report. This all looks amazing. And then at the end of the day, people are coming right out and basically challenging the information that was given, and saying, hey, this doesn't look like it's going to end up being a great situation. So that right there is the beginning of, people call FUD or whatever, how you want to look at it. That's really what's happening here. What if in the future countries don't need those U.S. dominant payment networks? So this is it doesn't look good. I'll say that. So you want to be very careful if you're trading in the market right now, because that's kind of what's going to happen here, is that even though, the market seemed good, it doesn't seem like we're going to get anything good out of this. It's going to be more of a down look at the lockout. I mean, anytime you have lockdowns, there's nobody spending in the economy, so there's nobody doing anything. Now, me personally, I think to myself that, hey, if nobody's spending money on the outside, where else can you put money except for crypto? The problem is in China, they're not allowed to buy crypto. So with this hurting that and everything coming on that factor, we're going to, I see Bitcoin, I'm not entering Bitcoin. I'm looking at Bitcoin as a situation where, we're not out of the area yet. So, and it doesn't look like anybody has anything good to say. But Dior, guys, I just wanted to get that information out to you, so that way you had basically some information out there you can look at and, see what can come across and help you guys out. Other than that, man, it's your boy VC. Good luck. Dior while you're out there. Make sure everything's good for you. Good luck.